Hi everyone, good evening. This is Shefali Singla, and in this session we are going to discuss about the comparison of functions. So बहुत सारे students है they were like मैम पता नहीं चलता कि कौन सा function बड़ा है कैसे check करें. So basically I'll be discussing two methods in today's session. So एक तो standard approach होती है जिसमें आप लोग table बनाते हैं. दूसरा method है जिसमें हम कुछ function को modify करके compare कर सकते हैं. So I'll discuss one easy and the standard approach and जिसमें बहुत ज़्यादा time भी नहीं लगेगा आपको. You just need to have knowledge of few basic logarithmic formulas. So we are going to start with the different methods of comparing the functions. कंपैरिजन ऑफ फंक्शन से दो तरीके से क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. एक तो आपको फंक्शन को कंपेयर करके यू हैव टू ऑप्ट फॉर द करेक्ट असिम्प्टोटिक नोटेशन. असिम्प्टोटिक नोटेशन के साथ कंबाइंड क्वेश्चन आ सकते हैं और सिंपली आपको पांच छह या चार पांच फंक्शंस गिवन होंगे and they'll ask you to arrange those functions in the ascending or the descending order. That is other type of question that can be asked on the basis of this topic. So let's start with the comparison of functions. Let's say हम सबसे पहले easy functions लेते हैं जो already हमें पता है कि which function is greater or which is smaller, and through that function we'll understand the different ways. So if we talk about the function, we have let's say the function is n square and n cube. I want to compare these two functions. We know that n cube is greater than n square. ये हमें पता है कि n square छोटा है n cube से, but still let's prove this. Method 1 is saying that create a table, that is the tabular method. Create a table. तो n की कौन सी वैल्यूज लेनी है? कंसिडर एनी वैल्यूज ऑफ n, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. बट एग्जाम में आप एक एक वैल्यू लेकर चेक नहीं करोगे because sometimes the function is growing in a such a way that sometimes one function is smaller than the other one and then other is smaller. तो थोड़ी सी गैप लेकर substitute the values. So consider some set of values for n एंड जो भी आपको फंक्शंस दिए गए हैं उनमें आप वैल्यू सब्स्टिट्यूट कर दीजिए. यू विल गेट some numeric figure and easily you can do the comparison. For example, I'm taking the value of n as 1. So 1 square will be 1. 1 cube is 1. Then I'm taking the value 2. 2 square is 4. 2 cube is 8. 3. 3 square is 9 and 3 cube is 27. 4. 4 cube is 16. 4 square is 16 and 4 cube is 64. So you can see that here both were equal. Now this is greater, greater, greater. So ये gap बढ़ता जा रहा है. So we can say that we can easily observe that here n square is greater than n cube. This is one. N square is smaller than, the value is smaller for n square. N square is smaller than n cube for all the values of n starting from, for all the values of n starting from n is greater than equal to 2. Let's consider one more set of functions. I'm taking n square and 2n. I want to compare these two functions. So what I'll do is I'll apply the same approach. I'll consider the values of n, substitute the values of n and check which function is greater. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like this, and we'll substitute the values. Now, 1 square is 1, 2 raised to power 1 is 2. 2 square is 4, and 2 square is 4. 3 square is 9, 2 cube is 8. This value was greater, this is equal, now this is greater. So function is changing. So जब तक value stable नहीं आती तब तक will keep on changing. 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25, 6 square is 36, 49. And here we are getting 2 raised to power 4 is 16, 2 raised to power 5 is 32, 2 raised to power 6 is 64, 128, and so on. Now you can see that the gap is increasing. This is equal, this is greater, greater, greater. So after this value, we can say that, after this value, we can say that the function 2 raised to power n is greater. So we got a conclusion that 2 raised to power n is 2 raised to power n is greater than n square. So we can compare the functions by substituting the values, by considering some value of n, and then you do the comparison. This is one approach. Another approach is apply log function on the given functions. Apply, let's say, in the first set we were given with the functions n squared and n cubed. What I'll do is I'll apply log on both functions. So I'm going to modify these functions. I'm going to apply log on both the functions. When I'll be taking log, so here इस function के ऊपर जब आपने log लगाया आपके पास आया log n square. इस function के ऊपर जब आपने log लगाया we are getting log n cube. Now we have a basic formula like log a raised to power b, so it comes out to be b log a raised to power b. This is nothing but that is जो भी पार में होता है वो front पे आ जाता है b log a. So I'm using that only. So here we'll get 2 log n and here we get 3 log n. अब आप देख सकते हो कौन सी टर्म ग्रेटर है, 2 log n और 3 log n. Obviously 3 log n is greater, so we can say that out of these two functions n square is less than n cube. This is method 2 and I prefer this method because with this method you always get the correct answer and in the minimum time. तो इसमें कोई भी problem नहीं आती है because अगर आप value substitute करते हो you don't know that at what point we will be getting the single value. Correct? Very good morning, very good evening Mahalakshmi. Now we have considered one more set of functions, that is n squared and 2 raised to power n. Let's see which function is greater. Are we getting the right answer or not? So n squared and 2 raised to power n. Again, I'll be applying log on both the functions. Apply log. यहाँ पे base 2 आ रहे तो आप base 2 ले सकते हो, otherwise just keep this as log. Apply log on both functions. After applying the log, here we'll be getting log n square. Here we are getting log 2 raised to power n. Now this term will come in the front. So here we'll be getting 2 log n and this is n log 2. अगर हम यहाँ पे log का base 2 consider करते हैं then this term comes out to be 1. So if you compare what sort of this function is, this is logarithmic function and this is linear function. किसकी growth ज़्यादा है? Obviously it's the linear function. So here we are getting logarithmic function and here we are getting the linear function. Obviously linear function is greater. So we got to know that n square is smaller than 2 raised to power n. Easy? बट यहाँ पे भी एक छोटा सा पॉइंट आएगा, वेन एवर यू आर मॉडिफाइंग द फंक्शन, जब आप फंक्शन को मॉडिफाई कर रहे हो देन वी कैन नॉट इग्नोर द कॉन्स्टेंट्स. अगर मैं केस 1 की बात करती हूँ, हियर बोथ द फंक्शंस आर लॉगरिथमिक फंक्शंस. इनमें डिफरेंस के बेसिस पे आया, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द कांस्टेंट. Here we cannot ignore the constants because we have modified the functions. But if you are given with two functions like 2n and 3n. Let me call this as example 1, example 2, example 3. If I'm taking 2n and 3n, now I need to check which function is greater. Can I say that 3n is greater? No, because जो आपको दो function दिए गए हैं, both the functions are the linear function. This is a linear function, this is a linear function. Linear function. Now you'll be like, ma'am, यहाँ पे दोनों logarithmic function थे, but these are obtained after applying some function. These are the given functions. हमने इनको modify नहीं किए. In the original function itself, they differ on the basis of the constant. अगर हम value wise check करते हैं तो definitely 3n is greater than 2n, but asymptotically both the functions are equal. Here we'll ignore the constants. Ignore the constants. So we can say that asymptotically, asymptotically, both the functions are equal. In this case, can't ignore constants. अब ये भी बहुत बड़ी समस्या है कि भाई कहाँ पे constants ignore करने और कहाँ पे constants ignore नहीं करने. How do we get to know that whether do we need to ignore the constants or not? So अभी अभी मैंने डिस्कस किया कि जब आपके पास कोई दो फंक्शंस डिफर कर रहे हैं विद द कांस्टेंट, तो उस केस में अगर रॉ फंक्शन है, आपने कोई मॉडिफिकेशन नहीं की, कोई फंक्शन अप्लाई नहीं किया, देन इन दैट केस वी कैन इग्नोर द कांस्टेंट्स. बट अगर दो functions differ कर रहे हैं on the basis of the constants and those two functions are modified, आपने उसके ऊपर कोई function apply किया था, then we cannot ignore the constants. ओके, सो अगर आपने लॉग या कोई भी ऑपरेशन अप्लाई किया है आफ्टर मॉडिफिकेशन, वी कैन नॉट इग्नोर द कांस्टेंट. सो लेट मी राइट दिस एज अ नोट. So this is the only thing that you need to consider in method 2. Otherwise everything is very simple. I'll provide a basic list of logarithmic formulas. गिनती के 3-4 formulas है जो आपको पता होने चाहिए, and then you are done with the comparison of functions. Okay, so here note. नोट मीन्स इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट. अगर आप इस पॉइंट का ध्यान नहीं रखेंगे तो हो सकता है आप अपना क्वेश्चन गलत कर ले. सो इफ लॉग और सम फंक्शन is applied on the given functions, if we have applied log or some function on the given functions, then we cannot ignore constants. Otherwise, constants can be ignored. Mahalakshmi, I'm coming to your doubt. You are facing the issue in DBMS chapter video. Can you please precisely tell me that in which video are you facing the problem? I hope that this point is clear. So now let's go through a basic formulas. I have posted through doubt session already. एक बार दोबारा बता दीजिए please. So some logarithmic formulas, because इसके बाद हम थोड़ी सी प्रैक्टिस करेंगे कंपैरिजन ऑफ फंक्शंस के बेसिस पे. So we need to know these formulas. It's under chapter 2 session relational model. Okay. So what is the doubt? So some logarithmic formulas, we know that if two functions are given, like log multiplication में दिए गए हैं, there is some base c. So we can take the individual terms with the operator plus log a plus log b there will be no change in the base. This is formula number 1. Log, एक formula हमने अभी discuss किया, if it's a raised to power b, then it comes out to be b log a. If we have log a divided by b with the base c, so we can write this as log ab minus c, and we know that log a into log b is log ab is nothing but log a plus log b, so it will be log a. Instead of minus 1, now we'll be having minus log b with the base c. So basically जो third formula that is derived from the first formula itself. Next, if we have a raised to power log n with the base b, so here simply we are going to swap the positions of n and log a. So this comes out to be n log a with the base b. So ये कुछ basic formulas हैं that you need to know while applying the logarithmic function on the given functions. I hope that this is clear to everyone. After anomalies, you have teached us to find primary key, foreign key. In that video, skip the timing. Skipped from the timing. Are you talking about YouTube video or which one? You mean 24 seconds का content है skipped? Okay, we'll talk about this later. Let's have few questions on the basis of comparison of functions. Then Mahalakshmi, I'll ask your query in detail. Although आपने बताया है, but please precisely let me know because I'm taking lot many sessions. So exactly where is it? And definitely will rectify it. So is this clear? Are you ready for the practice? Okay, let's have some practice. Uh, First one, f of n is given as, practice question 1, f of n is given as 2 raised to power log n and function g of n is given as n raised to power root n. Which function is greater? Which function is greater? This is what we have to find. Now just consider if you are going to substitute the value of n, कम से कम आपको 3-4 values लेनी पड़ेंगी, and then you will be solving both the functions. You will be calculating for both the functions की n substitute करने के बाद value क्या आ रही है. So obviously we don't want to waste our time in the exam. So better idea is let's apply the logarithmic log on the given functions and then we'll simplify it. So I'm going to follow that approach. Apply log on the given functions, on the given functions. So after applying the log, here we'll be getting f of n will be equal to log 2 raised to power log n, and here we'll be getting g of n as log whatever is the function. Now this is something of type log a raised to power b. So we know that this is nothing but b log a. So I'll apply this here. So I'll be getting here log n log 2. If the base is 2, this term comes out to be 1. So ultimately here we are getting log n. And if we apply this concept here, root n will come in front. So here we'll get root n log n. Compare both the functions. This is simply only log n. This is root n into log n. So which function is greater? Obviously, if we compare these two functions, so we can say that g of n is greater, because यहाँ पे आपके पास सिर्फ log n आ रहा है, यहाँ पे root n log n आ रहा है, तो definitely f of n, we can say that f of n is smaller than g of n. Easy. So I have just applied the logarithmic function and we got the values. In the same way, you can apply on the other function. और ऐसा नहीं है कि एक ही बार apply करने, जब तक आपको आंसर नहीं मिलता, till then you keep on applying. So f of n is n raised to power log n and g of n is 2 root n. Now in this case, what will be the, which function will be greater? Do you want to give it a try? Try this. आपको बहुत simple approach बताइए. Simply apply log on both the functions. Apply log on both the functions. So here which function, okay, let's take f of n. This is log n raised to power log n, and here we'll get g of n is equal to log 2 raised to power root n. Now simplify this. Here we'll get log n into log n, that is nothing but log n square, and here we are getting root n log 2. So this is gonna be 1, so we'll get here root n. Now root n is greater or log n square is greater? Let's say we are unable to identify, so what we'll do is we'll again apply log on the given functions. Again apply log. दोबारा से log apply करेंगे. So when I am applying log again, so here I'll be getting log n square, and here I'm getting root n can be written as 1 by 2. So here we'll be getting log n raised to power 1 by 2. Now simplify this. This comes out to be 2 log of log n, and this is 1 by 2 log n. Now see, log of log n will be smaller or log n will be smaller. Obviously log, आपके पास कोई value आ रही है, again you are taking the log, so this term will be smaller. So now we got to know that n raised to power, so the conclusion is here f of n is smaller than g of n. This is the conclusion. So until and unless you are sure with your answer, you can keep on applying the log function. बस log function apply करने से पहले ये ध्यान रखिए कि आपको simplification के लिए you should be comfortable with the basic formulas of the log. Is this clear? Comfortable? Let's consider one more function. F of n is equal to 3n root n. G of n is equal to 2 root n log n. Can you tell me that which function is greater? We just have to like simplify these functions. if you see here, we have discussed that if we are given with the formula a log n with the base b, we can write this as n raised to power log a with the base b. Same thing will be applying here. So we'll be getting here n raised to power root n log 2. And this will be 1. So ultimately g of n is nothing but n raised to power root n, and f of n is given as 3n root n. If you see here, both the functions differ by the constant. दोनों functions में किस चीज का difference आ रहा है? Constants का. Both functions differ by constant. Can I ignore the constants here? यहाँ पे constants consider होंगे या ignore होंगे? Both the functions differ by constant only. So now f of n will be equal to g of n, f of n is greater than g of n is greater than f of n. What is the correct answer? 3n. 3n is greater. We have discussed that we can ignore the constants. Under which scenario are we ignoring the constants? Let me go back to that slide. If you go through this note, if log or some function is applied, then we cannot ignore the constants. अगर आपने given function को modify किया है कोई और function या log apply करने के बाद, तब आप constants को ignore नहीं कर सकते. But if you are given with the raw functions, then we can ignore the constants, right? तो अब यहाँ पे हमने जो example लिया है, are we applying any function? क्या मैंने log या कुछ और function apply किए? No, we have not applied any function. It's just similar to like we compared 2n and 3n. So both the functions are of the same type. They both differ by constant. So in this case, we said that asymptotically both are equal. Asymptotically both are equal. Asymptotically both are equal. That means we can ignore the constant, so both are equal. Same goes here. We have not applied anything here. So this means that the constants can be ignored. Constants will be ignored here. अगर मैं constants को ignore कर दूं, then we are getting the similar type of function, that is n raised to power root n. G of n is also n raised to power root n. So we can say that both functions are asymptotically equal. So both functions are asymptotically equal. Make sense? So both the functions are asymptotically equal. One more question. F of n is equal to n square log n. G of n is equal to n log n with the base with the power 10. Which function is greater? Obviously हम जितने भी examples ले रहे हैं सब में आप tabular method use कर सकते हो, but it is not recommended because that is a time consuming method, and definitely हमें exam में अपनी speed के ऊपर भी focus करना होता है, because अगर speedily paper solve नहीं करोगे तो हो सकता है कि paper आते हुए भी छूट जाए, तो in that case we won't be able to score good marks. So these are the two functions. We can see that यहाँ पे n की power 2 है, यहाँ पे n की power 1 है, but log n. So we need to apply some function. अब यहाँ पे एक आप टेबुलर मेथड यूज कर सकते हो, दोनों केसेस में आपके पास n log n आ रहा है, यू कैन डिवाइड बोथ द फंक्शंस बाय n log n, देन यू कैन डू द कंपैरिजन. So I'll be solving this using two methods. First method, that is the question specific. Method 1, tabular, create the table, substitute the values and solve it. Tabular method. Method 2, this is question specific. क्वेश्चन स्पेसिफिक मीन्स यहाँ पे जो फंक्शंस गिवन है इसमें देखो आप कौन सा फंक्शन अप्लाई कर सकते हो इन ऑर्डर टू सिंप्लीफाई द फंक्शंस. So this method is question specific. In this question we can see that in both the functions we are getting n log n. So divide both the functions, same value से divide करें, divide both functions by n log n. When I'll be dividing both the functions by n log n, I'll get here f of n is equal to n square log n divided by n log n. So this comes out to be n only. In case of g of n, I'll be dividing n log n raised to power 10 with n log n. So here simply we'll get log n raised to power 9. Now if you check the type of function, this is the linear function and this is logarithmic function, and we know that linear function is greater, so we can say that f of n is greater than g of n. This is one approach. If you are unable to observe this, otherwise जो हमारी standard approach है, that is apply log on the given functions. So I'll follow that. Method 3, apply log on the given functions. When I'm going to apply log on the given functions, I'll get f of n. Okay. So f of n के ऊपर जब आपने log apply किया, so this comes out to be log n square log n. दो terms in, that is log ab. We know that log ab is equal to log a plus log b. Simplify कर लीजिए. Similarly, we'll apply this function on the other function, given function, that is g of n. So this comes out to be log n log n raised to power 10. So log a plus log b, this is a, this is b. Log n square plus log of log n. And in this case, we'll be getting log n plus log of log n raised to power 10. Simplify this, it comes out to be 2 log n plus log of log n, and this comes out to be log n plus 10 log of log n. So what is this? Which function is greater? 2 log n. अब यहाँ पे देखो हमारे पास similar terms आ रही है, log n log n. यहाँ पे log n के साथ जो constant है, obviously since we have applied the function, we have modified the function, so we cannot ignore the constants. But in this case, 2 is greater, 2 log n is greater than log n, but if we compare log of, यहाँ पे आपके पास 1 log of log n आ रहा है, here we have 10 log of log n. So which one will be preferred? Obviously this will be preferred. Reason is it's like 2 lakh and log of log n means uska sub part, so 2 lakh 1000. 1 lakh 10,000. So which term is greater? Obviously 2 lakh is greater. Or you can consider this as 2 rupees 1 paisa. And this is 1 rupee and 10 paisa. So कैसे भी इसको read कर लो? F of n is greater than g of n. So here again f of n is greater than g of n. मैं सिर्फ comparisons करके छोड़ रही हूँ. We are not talking about the asymptotic notations because already इससे पहले एक session आया था जिसमें मैंने asymptotic notations discuss की थी. If they are using the big O notation, so we'll be writing this as g of n is big O of f of n because f of n is greater. Okay, or you can also write this as f of n is big omega of g of n, something like this. तो इस तरीके से आपको options given हो सकती हैं and you or you might be given with the functions and you have to arrange those functions in the ascending order. So this is one important type of question that can be asked on the basis of the comparison of the functions. फर्स्ट टाइप का क्वेश्चन जिसमें अभी हमने देखा asymptotic notation यूज करके आपको रिजल्ट बताना होगा. Other one is you are given with 5 functions and we have to tell that which function is greater and which function is smaller. Okay, तो क्या करना है इसमें? ऑब्वियस सी बात है कि टेबल बना के 5 फंक्शंस गिवन है, कम से कम 4-5 वैल्यू सब्स्टिट्यूट करें. वी वॉन्ट बी इवेलुएटिंग 4 into 5, that is 20 or more functions. So better idea is let's apply the method. And as per the series we know that constant की जो time complexity होती है that is the smallest one and exponential is greatest. But here we do not have exponential function. So constant is smallest, so this is 10. But if you compare 10 with 100 by n, so 100 by n will always be, क्योंकि अगर हम बोल रहे this function is greater, that means it will hold true for all the values after some specific point. But यहाँ पे अगर n की value 10 से बढ़ जाती है, 100 by n will be smaller for all the values of n, for all the values of n greater than equal to 11. अगर n की वैल्यू 11 कर देते हो 100 divided by 11 that comes out to be 9 point something and this is 10. 12 और वैल्यू छोटी हो जाएगी. So out of these functions we know that 100 by n is smaller than 10. So at first two places we'll be getting 100 by n and 10. 100 by n, this cannot be smaller. This is wrong order. So wrong. Constant बाद में नहीं आ सकता login के. This is just by considering 10 and 100 by 10 we have got the answer. Otherwise just arrange these functions. So apart from these two functions we have root n, we have n, we have log n. I'll apply log on the given functions. Apply log on the given functions. So here we'll be getting log root n means n raised to power 1 by 2. Here we'll be getting log n. Here we'll be getting log of log n. Since we have applied the log on the given function, so after this we cannot ignore the constants. So simplify it. It comes out to be 1 by 2 log n. This is log n and this is log of log n. So obviously log of log n is the smallest among these three. So log of log n हमें किसके लिए मिल रहा है? That is for log n. Now out of these functions, this is smallest one. Then out of 1 by 2 log n and log n, same type का function है, but here we cannot ignore the constant. So 1 by 2 log n is smaller. Log of log n is smaller than log 1 by 2 log n and this is smaller than log n. So basically log of log n हमारे पास किसके corresponding आ रहे हैं? We are getting this corresponding to root corresponding to log n. That means log n 1 by 2 log n is for root n and log n किसके लिए आया है? This is for n. So at the first two places we are getting 100 by n, then 10, and then we are getting log n, and then root n, and then n. That is nothing but that is option B. So correct answer for this question is option B. So this is the important type of the question that can be asked on comparison of functions. I hope that by the end of this video you'll be comfortable with the comparison of functions. तो जितने भी हमने questions किए हैं, majority questions, almost in every question I have used one standard approach, that is applying the log on the given functions. तो दो तीन formulas हैं, घूम फिर के वही apply होने हैं, simplify the function and check which function is greater. Even if constants occur after applying some function, कोई भी ऑपरेशन अप्लाई करने के बाद अगर दो फंक्शंस आ रहे हैं आपके पास जो कांस्टेंट पे डिफर करते हैं, then you cannot ignore the constant. That is the most important point if you are using this approach. So this is all about this video. I hope that there is no doubt. But in case if you have any doubt, feel free to ask, post that in the chat section. Query? Clear now? Awesome. So those who are preparing for UGC NET 2024, notification is out, and the biggest changes this time will be having the offline paper. So be ready for that. I guess it's gonna be easy because बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं जो आपको paper based से थोड़ी सी easy रहती हैं. And apart from that, if I talk about the schedule, so I'm taking two types of sessions, free classes and the super coaching. So super coaching में morning and evening we are having two sessions, one in the morning and other one in the evening, so that we can finish our syllabus before time. Before time खत्म करने का purpose इतना है ताकि आपको test series और practice के लिए enough time मिल जाए. And in the free sessions, one session is on the platform, on the Testbook platform, that is masterclass. See, super and मास्टर क्लास भी टेक्स्ट बुक प्लेटफॉर्म पे. मास्टर क्लास फ्री है, इनके लिए आपको कोई सब्सक्रिप्शन नहीं चाहिए, बट डेफिनेटली फॉर सुपर कोचिंग you need the subscription. The difference between both is in super coaching whole syllabus is covered in the live sessions. Each and every topic will be covered in detail along with the test series, practice questions and so on. um, but in case of YouTube and master classes, in the case of free classes, we are just covering the important concepts on YouTube